resurrected back to life. Done my time and served my sentence. Dress me up and watch me die. If it feels good, tastes good, it must be mine. Dynasty decapitated, you just might see a ghost tonight. And if you don't know now, you know. I'm taking back the crown. I'm all dressed up and naked. I see what's mine and take it. Oh, yeah, the crown.
When the music plays, you know you have summoned the demon. Demon Phil is here with another hell of a show. We're going to have a hell of a time on this one. We're going to have some fun. Why am I all dressed up? I mean, I've got the fancy glasses, the fancy hat, and everything on here. Well, we're going to have some fun on the show. You're going to find out whenever you see my guest that's on here, and you're going to know right off the bat. If you paid attention to the post that was on there, you already know. I'm excited about this one. Been looking forward to this one. It's been a while since I've had him on here. We're going to get him up here very shortly. But before that happens, I need everyone to raise your finger. No, you bunch of degenerates. The pinky. Raise your pinkies and go ahead and welcome Matt Knowles here from InSymmetry.
What's going on, everybody? How you doing out there? Matt Knowles from InSymmetry Creations. How you doing out there today, Demon Phil? How's everything going in your neck of the woods?
What's going on, Matt? Man, it's been a while, and my neck of the woods is doing pretty good as long as I don't go out there too far. The coyotes are pretty vicious around here, but we won't go into all that.
No, it's been busy over here, man. It's been busy over here between doing a lot of live shows. Steph and I just did our 100th live appearance for InSymmetry Creations last weekend, which is completely insane to think that we've dropped 100. Now, granted, there are some individuals. It's not like we've both been together for every one of those 100. There's been some comic book store signings on her side, some on my side. There was a couple that we did before we officially called it InSym, but still 100 shows live. That's a pretty big deal. Just got done with New York Comic Con, GeekCon in Shreveport, Louisiana. And as you can see in my name, we are running a Kickstarter right now, our 8th Kickstarter for Heirs of Isildur, The Perilous Prospects, Book 2. You guys are definitely going to want to go over there and check that out. We are super stoked about this book, and we're going to be talking about a lot of the cool things in this campaign over the course of this show. Isn't that right, Demon Phil?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the way you come in here and step in and say, this is what's going to happen, and get ready for it. Put your seatbelts on, get your trays in the upright position, and don't touch that dial because it's about to get interesting around here. We're turning this up to 11. So you've got a campaign that's going now for Heirs of Isildur. This is a spinoff, correct, of the regular Heirs of Isildur.
So it's not a spinoff. It's the logical progression. So Heirs of Isildur, The Crossroads Conundrum ends with an apocalyptic event. This story picks right up at that apocalyptic event, but it looks at it from multiple different angles. So like in the Crossroads Conundrum, you basically saw everything from the eyes of Michael Isildur and how everything was kind of around him. It was like his perspective. Well, without being spoilerific, he finds himself incapacitated at the end of the Crossroads Conundrum. So you really can't see things from his point of view. You just get to see things from everyone else's point of view, those that are in his tight inner circle, those that have been monitoring him and watching him throughout the story, and those in the town of Shadowshaven, and seeing these very different perspectives from each one of these groups as to how this apocalyptic event has affected all of them. It's a really fun character study, but there's a lot more action. It starts off with action right off the jump. And there's a ton of twists and turns, and there's a ton of unexpected things. We love to do post-credit scenes, Marvel credit scenes. So even in the first book, there's some stuff that like you see characters reacting to certain thing happens, and you don't really see what they're reacting to until you get after the credits, and you're like, holy crap, I need to go back and look at the book. That's what they were reacting to. Holy crap, that's some intense stuff right there.
And that's a lot of fun the way that you do that, because it keeps it where it's a page turner, but then again, you go back saying, where did I miss this? What just happened here? So it makes it more interesting every time that you read it over and over again for that. So I see how the perspective thing works out for the series on that.
Yeah, we're in book 2 of it right now. One of the things we're doing with this arc is everything's going to be a perfect bound book. So the first one was 48-page perfect bound. So everyone's going to have a spine. I've actually got some of the issues right here. So, whoops.
Oh, yeah.
So that is, I think that's all 6 of the covers that we did for issue 1. But one of the fun covers that we did, we always do homages. So there's the Metalocalypse homage. We even took our logo and redid it in Metalocalypse form.
Nice.
That was one of the favorite covers there. And then for book 2, one of the covers we have is called The Strangest Homage, which if you look at the logo behind us, that's actually our logo transformed into the Stranger Things logo from season 4. And we actually had an artist come in, Josh Menendez, and do a cover in the same exact format as the Stranger Things 4 promo poster.
Very cool. Now, I've got to go ahead and say, because any of the stuff that you work on over there in Symmetry is high energy. That's actually putting it very mildly, as far as I'm concerned. Y'all are always getting, in character, dressed up. You're pumped up. Somebody comes up to your table, it's not like they're going to walk off without y'all smiling and talking to them and involving them in what's going on. And what I want to go ahead and bring up is I've actually got a picture here of the two of you involved here in this picture. So you've actually got you and Steph Cannon in here, because
Absolutely.
you bring so much energy to the table, pun intended.
Absolutely we do. Absolutely we do. And that's just what we do. I mean, if we're at a show, we're going to make sure that we're dressed as twins. I mean, you can see very clearly that the two of us look very similar size and all that. So if we go and dress the same, you just can't tell us apart. But I mean, that's part of our thing. I mean, this is a big industry, and you have to. I mean, we're doing this because this is something we like doing for shows, but it also helps to to be memorable. I mean, we're not going to be somebody that you're just going to forget about. I mean, people are like, oh yeah, there's that guy in the top hat. I mean, that's part of what we do. And one of the neat things, again, I'm going to kind of revolve back to the campaign, is we always do fun things with leather work during our campaigns.
Yes.
We have our leather workers, GB Leatherworks, that always does really cool things for us. In this campaign, we were like, well, what can we do? We know some of the things we want to do for book 3, but we couldn't do them now. And sometimes the most obvious thing that you should do is right in front of your face, and you just don't really realize it. So we already were going to do a set of Christmas tree ornaments with our air symbol and with the baby dragon head keychains, but we couldn't figure out the third thing we wanted to do. And one of the guys at GB, Harrison, was like, why are we not doing goggles? Because we are already doing. You can actually go and get goggles just like we do on our campaign. One of the cool things is on the side of the goggles, these are actually Airs branded goggles with our 13 o'clock symbol on the side. That's actually our design, our symbol, and every one of these sets of goggles is going to be branded. You've got the brown ones, then you've got black tones, and then one of the things that we like to do, we have a thing called the eccentric craftsman, which is if the guys are just feeling skippy and they want to do something wild, they might pull out red dragon scale fabric or leather and do something like that. Just whatever they have around. I mean, there could be whatever. It could be light green and yellow. But it's like if somebody wants eccentric craftsman, you're taking a chance on whatever the heck they feel like doing at the time. But you've got the opportunity to get all 3 of those. You've also got some like the leather Christmas tree ornaments, and then we also did some D&D dice bags, which play into the story. They actually have a very large role in issue 2, but you can get your own. It's called Michael's Traveler's Pouch, because he always has his little traveler's pouch with his parts in there, and you can get your own Michael's Traveler's Pouch in the campaign as well.
Nice. So, I mean, the overall concept is to make sure that you have enough of these items available in each campaign so they can get dressed up and everybody will be twinsies up there, because everybody will look alike at that point.
Absolutely. We've got shirts, we've got socks. Everybody loves the socks we do. We have our 3rd different variation of socks. We want people to be able to feel like they can go out there and have fun with the things they get. There's been a couple of threads this week. We just did the show at Renniger's Screams and Steam this past weekend, and somebody we know got a pair of the socks that we have. And he put a post up on Facebook, and he's like, dude, these socks are awesome. And these are some of my favorite socks. They're really good. And people started posting in that thread them wearing our socks as well. They're like, that's right, these socks are awesome. That's right, these socks are awesome. Like, how often do you have a comic book company or a collective like Steph and I are, and you can have people up there posting the socks that they bought from you and how much they like your socks? Like, that's pretty cool, man.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not just the comics, and it's not just the apparel, but I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. You've got the music as well, because everybody looks forward to seeing what's going to be new on the next campaign as far as music, because it gives it a whole pulse, a feel, a drive over there that you can actually listen to it while you're reading it, and it gives it another feel completely. which is awesome.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I come from a metal music background, and so because of that, we've always had music that ties into it. We were able to use the instrumental song "Nightmare Scenario" for the video for this campaign, which we had a lot of fun making the video for that. Steph ended up being in Florida in August at an unexpected time, and we couldn't figure out when we were going to be able to record footage for this campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So when she had an unexpected time, she was going to be in Florida. We got a hold of our videographer, Michael Palma over at Palma Productions, and we just blocked out a whole day. And we're going to do a whole bunch of costume changes, and we're going to film every video that we can. 6-8 hours later, we had videos for 5 different things, some for us, some for him. We had a bunch of different photo shoots done so that way we could be prepared. We've got stuff filmed for Misfits Clubhouse when that thing happens. We've got all kinds of stuff filmed just because we wanted to be ready for when this campaign launched.
And it is awesome. I love the video and everything. As a general rule, I don't play the videos because I don't want to get popped for, certain copyright strikes and everything. Even though it's your music, stranger things have happened. Trust me.
Ching.
Yes, I did that on purpose. I know I have my moments, but it's awesome to have the music on there, to have the different feel of things that are on there. But not only that, not just the audio, but whenever you're going through the books and you're looking at them, they have the rock feel to them. I mean, even the way that they're drawn, the way that they're lettered, the way that they're, the dialogue is, even though we're dealing with different time periods and everything, you can still feel the music through the pages. I don't understand how you do it, but kudos to you doing it because it's in every single book that I've seen so far.
Well, I appreciate it. I think that just comes from the fact that that's just the kind of mentality that Steph and I both have, with her being a horror culture aficionado, with her doing the articles and things like that. One of the things we always try to do is, even if it's steampunk inspired, if it's medieval inspired, whatever it may be, we always try and set our stuff in fictional landscapes because we want to be able to control what the environment is. We don't want somebody to be like, you said you were set in 1918 London, and they didn't have those things in 1918 London, so you can't do that. We're like, no, this is a fictional place that's, if you were to put a knife to our throat and say, tell me where this is, it's more based on Switzerland and Austria and that kind of vibe than it is anything American. So it's kind of like a European mountain community kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still fictional. And because of the fact we're dealing with portals and we're dealing with people coming from different time periods and bringing things in, we can have people from the future. We can have, influences like that because, when you've got people from all different areas and all different walks of life that have converged together, you're going to have that opportunity. So it gives us the freedom to be able to, bring in the elements that we want to bring in while still being true to the universe of the story.
And it does. It works for everything that you're doing because you've got different storylines that are out there, different things that you're working on, but each one has its own feel, but the same feel. Like I said, it's very strange unless you actually have these things in front of you and you're reading them, then you understand what I'm saying, because it's not something that you can just go into a classroom and learn how to do. It's something that you've actually put your passion into doing, which is what I talk about all the time on the shows with the comic industry, especially with the indies, is how much passion you put into your work, and y'all definitely portray that.
I appreciate that. I mean, you have to. If you don't put passion into what you're doing, then what are you doing? I mean, you have to do that. No matter if it's Airs or Tales from Nocturne or the music or even Misfits Clubhouse on Scout Comics, we get to have enjoyment out of the things that we do because our marketing mantra is we want to create characters you can relate to and universes you want to escape into. And as long as we're doing one of those two things or both of those things, we feel like we've done our job, because the world around us, whether it's the pandemic that we just had or just in your own personal life, things can be challenging, things can suck. If we can give you a reprieve from that for a short amount of time and allow you to live in that world for a little bit or experience those characters for a little bit, I mean, that's what it's all about.
And I could not agree more on that end with that. I got to ask you, you've done a lot of cons, of course. Con experiences. I want to hear one of your more memorable con experiences that you've had, because I know you've got to have some good ones. People coming up to your table, talking to you, and all of a sudden just going a whole different tangent than what you expected from the very beginning conversation.
Well, I can tell you that one of my most memorable is going to be Spookalla in May. It's a horror con that they set up in Ocala. There was a lot of headwinds about that show even taking place, just because a lot of people don't understand the culture and think, oh, this is going to be some dark, evil thing. But Spookalla did something really neat, and they had Ice Nine Kills and Corey Taylor from Slipknot that did acoustic sets right there in the middle of the day on Saturday for the price of admission.
Wow.
If you got a VIP ticket, you could go see Ice Nine Kills at a 350 seat small club, which is insane because Ice Nine Kills plays in front of stadiums. But I was the MC and panel host for that show, so I got to get up on stage and I got to introduce Ice Nine Kills. I got to introduce Corey Taylor, but I also had Harvey Guillen from What We Do in the Shadows did a panel right before Ice Nine Kills. So the way that the venue was set up, they had the venue was like one giant venue, and the panel room was at one end, but it wasn't a panel room. It was like a main stage, so it was set up for a concert the whole time. So the panels were taking place on the concert main stage. So went to go up there for Harvey Guillen, and there's pictures of it, and it's unbelievable. Went up there to start this panel, and there's like 1,000 people waiting for this panel. And I'm like, I've done panels at LA Comic-Con and different things like that, and I've never been able to look out there and go, there is 4 digits worth of people out here for this panel, and the crowd ate it up. It was electric. And then being able to get up on stage, both Ice Nine Kills and Corey Taylor allowed me to introduce them old school style.
Wow.
And I had fun because people were like, were you nervous when you're up there? I'm like, no, because when I'm up there, that's my crowd for 45 seconds to a minute. So
Exactly.
I just had fun with them, and they all enjoyed it. And they're getting ready to do a Spookalla holiday spooktacular show in December, basically by popular demand. And there was a lot of people that asked for me to come back as the panel host. So we just officially announced today I was the panel host for the Spookalla spooktacular show. But it was just amazing being able to get up there and feel that energy, see the crowd, everybody feeling it. It was just an incredible experience that you don't normally get out of a con, because normally everything is so segmented, whether you're at your booth or you're at a panel room. Being able to be on the stage and be able to give a shout out to everybody, all the vendors, and all the vendors be like, yeah, being at their booth and shout back out to us. That was an impressive feat right there. I loved it.
That sounds absolutely awesome. And yeah, you're mentioning, of course, you weren't scared of being up there or nervous or anything, because this is not your first rodeo, because as I understand it as well, you seem to do a little bit of announcing with a certain game called soccer.
Yeah, I'm a PA announcer for a USL League 2 soccer team out of the Villages, Florida. So that's always fun. I also was in a band that played live back in the day. I mean, it makes me want to vomit thinking about how long ago it was. But one of my craziest experiences in that realm, my bass player at the time was an original member of the band Camelot, and we opened up for Camelot this one show, and we got done playing and went outside, and the guys in Camelot were like, hey, here's our new song. Have you heard it before? You familiar with it? We're like, oh yeah, sure. And they're like, you want to do a guest vocal spot with us in this song tonight during the show? And I'm like, sure, let's do it. This sounds great. I'll do it. And they went back inside, and I'm like, I have never heard this song before in my life. And I sat in the car for like an hour practicing the part and got it completely down, went up on stage, and being on stage with that crowd just pumping away, like literally as far as you could see to the back wall of the venue, just everybody just loving. I'm like, I like this, man. I love that kind of feel, that kind of vibe. And one of the things I'm able to do now between the PA announcing and just having that kind of vibe, one of the things that people said they really enjoyed about Spookalla was I like to make sure that the people in the crowd feel like they're a part of the show too.
Yes.
Always asking them, hey, what you got? Like when I do panels, I don't want to wait till the last 15 minutes to start asking questions. I tell them, like, hey, if you got a question, get your hand up now. And when we have a logical time to get to you, we'll get to you, because we want to make sure you're getting the information that you want. I could sit up here with a panelist and we could just talk your ears off and just have a conversation for an hour. But if that's not anything you guys want to hear about, then we're wasting your time. So then
Exactly.
people are like, oh, you make us feel like we're part of the show, make it comfortable. I'm like, that's what we want. I want everybody to feel like that this is just as much their show as it is my show and the panelist show. And people have really, I feel like they've responded well to that.
And absolutely. And by going ahead and having that interaction in there makes them feel a part of whatever is going on at that time. It can be a project you're working on, a music set that you're introducing for, a panel that you're talking about, anything that you're doing. Now they now feel that they are a part of what made it what it is, instead of just simply being out there in the audience.
Absolutely. And to tie this back to what we do in airs as well, there's a lot of people, and including us, that, will give somebody the opportunity to get drawn into a comic. There's nothing wrong with getting drawn into a comic. It's always fun to be able to see yourself in the comic. But we always try to take it one step further. And we always tell people, if you get one of the Draw Me in Tears in our comic, then we're going to make sure that you have a character that we're actually going to name. We're going to make sure that you get a couple of lines of dialogue, or at least one line of dialogue. And then in the back of the book, we're going to actually treat you as if you were like a guest star in the book. Here's a picture of you drawn in, and it's John Smith as such and such character. And just so they really feel like they were a guest star in our issue. And
Nice.
in the book that we have out, that's on Kickstarter right now, people bought into that book during the book 1's campaign, and people for this campaign are buying into book 3 because the book is pretty much done at this point.
Mhm.
So we already know who's in this book. And it's interesting because the artist, there's times that they really pick up the vibe on a character, and sometimes the character might get in the book a couple of panels. And there's one guy we had to kind of tell the artist to stop drawing him so much because he's in 8 panels on a bunch of different pages, just because he vibed and he's a part of the scene and all that. So it just made it fun, because you never know what characters are going to take off. And it just was a character that logically kind of took off. Another thing in this campaign, one of the things we also do, we give you the ability, if you just want a cameo, hey, I just want to see my face in the issue, no dialogue, you can get your face in there. But one of the things in the add-ons in this campaign, you have the ability to get yourself drawn in cameo style into a secret project of ours. Again, the reason why it's secret is we haven't told anybody we're doing it. We are going to be starting to do it soon, but we want people to have the opportunity to get drawn in if they so choose. It's just like a 1-panel cameo this time because of the length of the project. But we've already had 3 people that have bought into that. They have no idea what the project is. They have no idea what they're going to look like. They have no idea the aesthetic, any of it. But they said, hey, you know what? I want to see myself in whatever this thing is, whenever it's going to come out. And I think that they're going to be pleasantly surprised whenever this project comes out with their inclusion in there, because it's going to be one of the craziest things that Steph and I have ever been a part of as far as our projects are concerned. So we're happy people are vibing around it.
That right there, that statement saying it's one of the craziest things y'all have, okay, no, because that right there has got my radar all kinds of up, because y'all have done some seriously crazy things. I mean, a dragon mask. I mean, how can you get much more crazy than that? And y'all keep, upping that bar on there each time. So with this one that you're talking about, and you say it's one of the craziest things, it's got my attention because I want to know what it is now.
Oh yeah, the secret project that we're doing. Obviously, if it's being offered during an Heirs of a Sealed campaign, somewhere, some way, it has something to do with this campaign. But
Yep.
It's definitely not something that you're going to see in book 3. Like we said, it's not anything we can really talk about right now because it's just not something that needs to be talked about.
Right.
But when it comes out, I think we're pretty confident people are going to go, that's pretty dang cool. You guys did something pretty cool. So we hope that that's going to be the case.
Now, I definitely want to talk about the creative process on how you come up with some of these ideas and everything. But first, for those who haven't watched some of the earlier times that I've had you on as a guest, and usually it's you and Steph, I want to go ahead and bring up, since Steph is not able to be here tonight, I want to go ahead and you let us know, how did you and Steph actually meet up and start doing this? How did the chemistry start up where y'all start doing this and it was so fluid?
So back in the day, so we're talking about just under 5 years ago, we both had a common friend in the industry that was getting unnecessarily slagged at the time. Imagine that, somebody getting canceled online. And I had posted a comment in support of him very early on in the thread. And the thread went viral, and weeks and weeks and weeks went by, and it was still people commenting on the thread. And she commented, for whatever reason, I got a Facebook notification, hey, such and such Steph Cannon just commented on this thread. And went in there, and I just read her comment, and I'm like, that was kind of cool. Went and looked at her profile, and she had some cool art up there. I messaged her, I'm like, hey, I really think the art on your profile is really good. And she and I just, hit it off from there. I'm just started off just like a normal acquaintance. Here's two creative people that are just talking. And one of the things we quickly realized was that both of us, I don't want to say naively, but both of us before we met kind of felt like we had all the knowledge that we needed to be able to be successful in the creative world, and kind of had blinders to some of the areas we didn't. And as soon as we met, it became very, very obvious to both of us that, like it really exposed our weaknesses very quickly. I was like, holy crap, I know nothing about this side of things that I thought I did. Like I said, I came from the metal music world. I came from prose writing and lyric writing, and I wanted to write a comic. And I realized, with her help, I'm like, yeah, what I'm doing isn't really a comic right now. It's an illustrated novel. I need to learn a lot more to make this into a comic. And that knowledge came from her. There are a lot of business things that I was very experienced in that she was not, that I was able to bring to the table. And it just kind of started from there. And it was only a few months in, I was about to do a steampunk show, and I needed some help at the show. And my first thought was, there's nobody else I trust more with this brand than her. And I was like, I'll ask her, but I'm like, she's in California, I'm in Florida. Just, I was just going to kind of tell her this thought that I had, with not really having any expectation that she was going to be able to do it. But I wanted her to know, hey, look, this is how I felt about her knowledge and respect and reverence for the Ayers brand, because she really, from like day one when we met, she really put a lot of time and energy and interest into understanding the two things that we talked about earlier, the characters in the universe. And I talked to her about it one morning, and that night she was like, hey, I've talked to everybody, and how about this California girl comes to Florida for the show? And I'm like, are you serious? And that was the first show that we ever did together. We probably had like 4 or 5 shows combined that we had done prior to that, and we've done 90 something one way or the other since then, to up to our 100 last weekend.
Nice. And 100 comes before you know it, because I just finished up hosting 100 shows, a hell of a show, which it may not seem like much to people. And I know how you feel about yours as well. It's kind of like, it's my mountain that I climbed, and now you look over going, this was a mountain, now I want that bigger one over there. I want to go move higher up over there now. So you're really pushing yourself, because I know I was doing the same thing as well. And I see no stopping of what y'all are doing. Y'all always have forward motion out there somehow, some way, with projects that are going on.
Absolutely. If we're not having forward motion in what we're doing, then what are we doing it for? We're doing a lot, like we've been doing a lot of stuff with Scout Comics. We've got Misfits Clubhouse, which is our all ages title that's on Scout right now. Getting ready to do a show in a couple of weeks, Sci-Fi Pop Fest, where I'm going to be down there with the guys at Scout. We've done quite a few things. Like we did GeekCon in Shreveport. That was us going up there alongside of Scout. We still had our InSim stuff. We were there as part of the Scout contingent. New York Comic Con, we were there with Scout as well, but we actually were there as Ayers, which was pretty cool. Like they actually approved us to be there, as well as Scout being there. So we're like, okay, we'll just kind of merge and figure out what we can do together. Help them do some of the promotional stuff for Scout. It's been fun. But yeah, we definitely have our sights set on bigger and better, and whatever we can do to grow what we're doing and make it as big and as great as we can possibly make it.
So I've got to ask, because we were talking about how your origin story with Steph and everything. How does the creative process work? Do y'all just all of a sudden communicate going, I got a great idea, and somehow meld it together? Or do y'all just wake up in the middle of the night and have the same idea at the same time? Because it almost seems like y'all are sharing the same brain at times on things that happen, which is great.
So normally it's more of the first, what you said there, where we like to say it's one person in the driver's seat and one person in the passenger seat with the map. And by saying it like that, people always think, oh, the guy in the driver's seat or the female in the driver's seat, that's the most important role. Well, Well, if the person driving the car doesn't know the map to get to where they want to go, then it shows the symbiotic relationship between the two positions. And for instance, with Misfits Clubhouse, it's all very short stories, and there could be a time when Steph has the initial idea for a story. Morty McFeathers is Missing is one of the short stories in the first issue of Misfits Clubhouse. That came from an experience that she had that she brought to the table. There's other ones that I brought to the table. There's one story that's going to be in the next issue of Misfits Clubhouse that I have no idea why. One night I went to bed, woke up, I'm like, hey, I just read an entire Misfits Clubhouse story last night. Here it is. Here's the entire story. And it just was like, it came out of nowhere. It had nothing to do with anything. But we always try to support each other in making sure that we understand the vision that the person has, understand where they're trying to get to, and help them to make getting there going to be the most enjoyable thing for the readers as we possibly can. And we both have that same mentality. It's not like, oh, it's got to be my thought. It's got to be my thing, because if it's not my ideas, then I'm not going to like it. I don't care. I want it to just be a cool story. And if 98% of it came from me and 2% from Steph, or vice versa, but we got the best story we can out of it, then I don't care. As long as it's the best story, that's the most important thing.
That sounds absolutely great. I mean, that's the way it should be, because that way you've got, you can't have just one perspective and always be right. You always have to have something to bounce off of in there and work through on that. And it works very well for y'all. So my next question is, when did you know whenever your quote unquote aha moment is? And what I mean by that is you're working on your legacy, with Symmetry and with the different brands that you've got out there and all. What was the aha moment? What is the moment where you went, oh my gosh, we're actually making comics and people are here to stay? We have a following.
We had one early on, which was actually pretty wild, because Steph had a story in an Alterna Comics anthology called If. And we were at Emerald City Comic-Con in Seattle. And it was just Saturday, and we were just there walking around and having meetings with people and going to panels. We didn't have a table or anything like that. And somebody said, Alterna Comics, Steph Cannon or something like that. And they slammed their book on the ground. And this is in the middle of Saturday afternoon. And they were just like, they recognized us walking down the aisle. And the guy was just like so excited. He had a chance to meet Steph right then, just walking in the aisle at Emerald City. And this is 2019, and wanted to get the book signed right then. So that was really cool. It was great being invited to do the Glow Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling panel at LA Comic-Con. We're good friends with Jeannie Basone, who is the original, very first Glow Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, Hollywood. Nice. So, we've been able to do some stuff with her. I know this is going to sound kind of cheesy when we say this, but every time somebody backs us on a Kickstarter campaign and you physically see somebody putting money to support you, you know that there wasn't just money to support you, but you're like, they took the time, they took some of their time, which they never can get back, to go to our page, to look at our page, to understand what's there, to decide, this is something I want to back for whatever their reason. And we literally celebrate every single one of those. It doesn't matter if you're a $6 backer or a $500 backer. You get the same woohoo out of us. We do the same thing when we get art from an artist and we have these thoughts, and you start to see these things becoming actuality and reality there. We celebrate those things too, because, who gets to do that? I mean, and I don't want people out there that are plumbers that hear this. I think I slag on plumbers all the time, but it's like, if somebody's a plumber and they stop doing their job, what are you going to do? You're going to pick up the phone, you're going to call another plumber, and they're going to come out and they're going to unclog your pipes. There's no art form in that. But when you're dealing with art, whether it's music or comics, people are out there being influenced, and they are enjoying something that you helped birth from nothing. It did not exist. And they're following your characters and listening to your music, and you're like, this is just wild. Where else do you get to do this, where you get to create something from nothing and people get to become a part of your ideas, and you get to see other people contribute? Like, for instance, there's a character named Augustus Obergarten in Heirs of Isildur in this arc, the Perilous Prospects, and that character came from. We told our artist Alessandro we need some characters that are from Shadow's Haven to be really mad and really crazy looking and like angry and stuff like that. And he drew this guy that just looks so cool that we're like, Alessandro, this guy right here, this is what his name is going to be. We need to use this guy more. And he was like, oh, that's really cool. That's something that, I drew from your instructions turned into this character that you want to use. And so it's cool seeing other people contribute and build on this melting pot of ideas. That's when you kind of know you're like, man, we're getting something cool here.
That is awesome. And I love how you went back to saying, it doesn't matter, $6, $500, whatever, and every single backer, if you contribute somehow, some way, then that right there solidifies that's your aha moment. I love that answer because more people need to think like that instead of thinking they have to have $80,000, $100,000 campaigns or they're failing at everything, or they need to think that, within the first 5 years that they're going to be $1 billion company, because comics doesn't have $1 billion company. I'm going to ruin everybody on that one right now.
Yep.
But it's just one of those things that you have to look at. Every win is a win. And that's what I love, that you have that perspective to see that, because then whenever you act like that, what you put in your books and everything actually showcases that as well. It no longer, what I'm trying to explain is it's nothing that you go in there and you read and you're like, it doesn't have the undertones of somebody's better than somebody else, or, negativity on this and no positivity. There's always something in there that you always showcase, that you highlight, that you have something in there that shows that there's a triumph, whether it be evil over good or something. There's always a positive. There's a triumph somehow, some way, and a way to overcome things. And I really like how you do that and keep putting that in there, because sometimes the little guys need that little extra push going, hey, it's okay, we got your back.
Well, and one of the things that we try to remember on a daily basis, and we try to instruct people, is that if you're so goal oriented, you're never going to enjoy anything you do, because if you're like, I'm not going to be happy until I get to this goal, well, that goal is going to be a moving target, because as you're taking steps, once you get close to that goal, you're not going to be happy with that goal. You're going to want to set a bigger goal from there. So we always try to make sure that we have short-term, mid-term, long-term, anything we can possibly think of is on a list every day. Every day. When Steph and I get on video chat, with me being in Florida, her being in California, we go through, here are the tasks that are potentially accomplishable today. And it doesn't matter if it's send an email to this person, look at this person's piece of art, respond back to this, promote this, whatever it may be. And we'll literally check those things off, and we can say, look at the things, look at these little tiny checkpoints that we got to every day, because those big goals in the end are ultimately just a bunch of little tiny individual daily checkpoints that have just stacked up on top of each other over and over and over again. And next thing you know, you're at this big thing that you looked like it was going to be unattainable at the very beginning.
And it's great to have that, and to be able to set the goals and have something that makes it where you can see, light at the end of the tunnel. Because sometimes you go in there and you build this world around you so much that you end up closing off every bit of light around you, and you have nowhere to go but through darkness. And at least you have a way to look at that going, well, there may be darkness, but at least right down here, I know that if I can get far enough down here, there's light.
No, I absolutely agree with you on that. And that's, we try to make sure that there is normally some kind of shred of hope or some kind of shred of open-endedness in the stories we write. We do have a story coming out in Holiday Spirits 2 from Orange Cone Productions. It's an anthology that'll be hitting Kickstarter here very soon. We were fortunate enough to be in that anthology, and we have a story called Raising Spirits, R-A-Z-I-N-G, that kind of raise, that's in there. And I would say for what we do, that's probably the darkest story that we've ever put out, because it's a horror book based around Christmas.
Right.
So, but normally the stories that we have, we'd like to try to find they're a character that somebody can see some hope in, no matter what it's going to be, a main character, be a side character. We want you to be sympathetic to the characters, because like I said, we want people to be able to relate to the struggles of the characters. You may not relate to all of them. You may not relate to any of them personally. Who the heck knows? But we want people to feel like there's some kind of shred of positivity that they can latch onto, because the world needs that. The world doesn't need death, doom, gloom, and despair that has no outlet there.
Exactly. Now, I got a few questions that I want to ask that are going to take it off topic, because we just want to make sure that you're not, an AI robot trying to take over the world. And if you are, no judgment. I haven't seen the red gleam off your eyes just yet, but, just making sure. Yeah, see, you're not making me feel all warm and fuzzy over here right now doing that. So first question is, of course, you mentioned about Hollywood, about Glow. So are you a wrestling fan?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at some point tonight, I'll go out there and I'll fast forward through Raw for sure. Yeah,
Excellent.
I record every show every week, and take the 3-hour show, turn it into 20, 25 minutes for sure.
Nice. Okay. Then we will definitely be talking in the future about some stuff as well. But so what do you think about the direction of WWE right now? I got to ask, because with Triple H taking over, I'm seeing a definite, it's turning.
I think that it's a long overdue move, and I think that it just goes to show that that you could have all the right pieces in place and just have the wrong person putting those pieces together, and you get nonsense like the Karrion Kross character. You get nonsense like all the people that got let go. Just putting the right person that understands what today's market is in place can change everything. And I think that that's a really good thing for the wrestling community at large, because when it's WWE just doesn't know what they're doing, and AEW is the only place where you can get good, solid content. AEW could do no wrong for a little bit, and now it's like the tide's kind of turned, and it's like,
yes,
WWE is basically where a lot of the good decisions are being made, which in turn is going to make AEW have to put their best foot forward. So you're going to have better programming and better stories. And wrestling is just like a comic to me, because it's like, can you relate to these characters? Can you relate to the stories? Are they believable? That's all I care about. I can tell you right now, you look at somebody like Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, the work he's doing with the honorary Uce is one of the best things I've seen in a long time. I've never been a Sami Zayn fan. He was just there. But what he's doing in the Bloodline is some of the greatest stuff that I've ever seen on a television screen, on a wrestling screen.
I completely agree. And he's going so far off character of what normally somebody would like that would do, that it's, at first it was, honestly, when I first saw it, I was like, this is not going to go over well. But then they played it. They actually ran with it instead of just making it a stupid one-off, and to the point where you look at it going, that was a mistake. It never should have been tried. They at least let him go with it to see where it would go, and it's now got a following. So they're giving it that pulse again. They're giving it that fan pulse. More importantly, is that the fans are actually kind of producing the whole thing right now.
Yep. And I think there needs to be a little bit of that. I think that, I mean, obviously Vince made wrestling what it is today with everything that he did in the 80s, and with WrestleMania and bringing that whole thing in. There's a great documentary they just had about WrestleMania 1 and what brought that whole thing around, and how that revolutionized the industry. But that doesn't mean that, just because he was right for that time means he's right for 2020, 2021, 2022.
Right.
And I think that you're clearly seeing that having somebody that understands the locker room as a former wrestler right now is doing all the difference in the world.
All right. So the next question I got for you is Team Cobra Kai or Team Miyagi-Do?
Let me tell you, I didn't really watch that much. I mean, I can tell you that I will say this. Here's the reason why I'm Cobra Kai. I'm not really Cobra Kai. I just love their logo, and I'm a big logo guy. I mean, I think to be truthful, I'm probably more Miyagi-Do, but I just think that Cobra Kai's got a great logo. So you always got to give some respect to the great logos.
And I will give you that much too. And traditional Cobra Kai is definitely a good one to go with, as long as it's not tainted. I think that was the whole point, is whenever it got tainted, that was the issue. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to round things out in season 6. And also they're bringing up a new Karate Kid movie. I don't know if you knew about that or not, but it's actually going to spin off directly from season 6.
That's cool. Like I said, I love being able to see people expand out their universe in logical ways. So yeah, I think that's great. I think that's great they're able to do that.
And because, I mean, the Karate Kid movies, I mean, they changed a lot of, the viewing stuff that was going on at the time and everything, and created an epic because you had the ultimate good guy, the ultimate bad guy. But it wasn't, superhero costumes by any means. It was simply fists and, feet. But then you started playing into the whole mind games that go into everything as well. And you're beating yourself instead of beating your opponent. I like how they did that. And they really push on that with Cobra Kai. So I'm waiting to see how they're going to do that with the last Karate Kid movie, to see how they're going to finish everything off. Because now that everybody's older, I mean, as a guy who's getting older by the minute right now here,
I feel you.
I know how that is. So I can only imagine being on the mat again, to finish it off and to tie everything up and get that full circle motion. That would be huge on there. So that could be very interesting. Now, the last question I got for you as far as the off the wall questions is, because it's that time of year and the spooky season, what's one of your favorite horror movies?
One of my favorite horror movies. So I know this is going to sound odd, which would be probably because I've been, my brain has been completely drained all day. Give me a second to think about that, because I am a big horror movie fan, but I really like psychological movies like Identity.
Yes.
Go back in the day, that was really cool. I think Identity was neat also because if you go look at that movie and you see the stuff they took out of the movie so that way they could make it what it was, you're like, oh, they had this whole other storyline, another angle that could have been a little more comedic. And they were like, you know what, this is probably not the way to go with this. So I think that's probably one of mine. And I would say I probably go a little more towards suspense more than horror, because obviously Butterfly Effect, the original Butterfly Effect is one of my favorite movies, especially when you add in the alternate endings. I'm a fan of Final Destination before it got completely cheesy with all the sequels and all that. But I mean, come on now, you can't go driving down a road and get behind a truck that's got logs in it without somebody posting a picture and being like, Final Destination movie, because you know what it is.
I mean, I go driving down the freeway or something, and if I have the option of getting behind one of those trucks or going way over into another lane, I'm way over in the other lane.
Yeah, forget that. I'm down with it. I'm down with you.
Now, you mentioned Final Destination. I got to ask, because they tied the movie up with the final movie that they had, apparently, and now they're going to come out with a brand new movie that finishes it up. I don't understand. What are your thoughts on that? Because I don't see how they can tie up anything else, because everything was rounded out.
Well, when there's dollars out there, they're going to find a way to be able to. I mean, we're dealing with Halloween right now. When they can find ways to be able to continue to do Halloweens, or find ways to continue to do Jason movies and things like that, when they can find ways to continue it on, they're going to continue it on. And I mean, if people are going to go out there and support it, then who am I to judge? But I mean, they're going to find a way to keep continuing on when they can.
And you mentioned, because, Halloween's and Friday 13th and everything that keep going and never have an end on there. But it's what you said at the very end that makes the most sense, because as long as they support it, it'll keep going. And the biggest thing I want to bring up about that is everyone needs to go over there and support Heirs of Isildur, because it's on Kickstarter right now on issue 2. And if you're not caught up and you think, oh man, I'll never be able to catch up on this thing, yeah, he's got you covered. So you can't go in there with that attitude. He's going to get you fixed up.
Well, one of the things we do on our campaigns, like I said, I don't know if you have it up. I don't know if you can pull up the campaign or not from where you're at. But one of the things we like to do is we like to give a lot of catch-up options. So if you are a digital person and you want to catch up digitally, you can go ahead and get the Crossroads Conundrum. You can get the one-shot nightmare scenario. You can get book 1, book 2. But if you're like, man, that's a lot of reading, I really don't want to have to go back to all that. We make sure that, especially with the Perilous Prospects, that we put enough content out there within the book. Also some links that you can go to on our website, where you can read some kind of like Cliff Notes history that can help give you that basis before you get into it. So that way you're like, okay, now I understand where the heck this setting is and who the heck these characters are. And you're not out there just in the woods. We want to make sure you know who these characters are when this apocalyptic event takes place and why you should care about them all.
And that's the way to do it right there. So we've got a great time getting to know, what's going on with the projects and everything on there, what's going on with you, how you've been doing, building this world that just keeps growing on your side over there. And the last thing that I want to talk about real quick is Scout Comics, because you're over there on Scout Comics with your other series that's over there, and it's starting to get a following as well. Go ahead and let us know about that one.
Yeah, so Misfits Clubhouse, it's about 4 kids whose imagination is so big that it starts affecting the reality around them. Most of the stories are easy to read, but we don't mean that in a dumbed down way. We like to say it's for the young and the young at heart. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like one of the stories, Pinball Madness, the kids get trapped in a pinball machine and they have to play their way out. And who is an adult can't remember going and having fun on a pinball machine or going down to the bowling alley on a Friday nights and dropping tons of quarters in the Haunted Mansion one. Or for me, Bride of Pinbot, my favorite pinball machine ever. And, we all remember those times. But then you look at somebody who's new to something like that. Like one of the best things was our artist, Raheel. He's in India and he had never played a pinball machine before. He didn't know the inner workings of it. So we had to basically learn him up from the ground up about what the heck a pinball machine was, what the different things were in it, what the goals were. So it was neat seeing as a grown adult, oh, can I put this here? Can I put a trampoline in here? We're like, dude, do whatever you want. This is supposed to be from the kids' imagination and how they're imagining being in this pinball machine. And if that's what you want to do, and that's how you're seeing it, then that's going to be authentic.
That sounds like a lot of fun with that. And it's really cool that you go ahead and you put that much into, helping your artist know what was going on with this thing, that basically you could go and build your own pinball machine now.
Yep.
That is awesome. So again, we want to thank you for being here and having the time with us on here tonight and talk about, the different projects and everything you got going on and everything. Go ahead and let us know. I'm going to give you full screen on this and let everybody know not only why they need to go over there to the Kickstarter right now, because the link is embedded in every feed you're watching, but also why they need to hit that share button as well.
All right, so Heirs of Isildur, The Perilous Prospects, Book 2. It's apocalyptic sci-fi set in a steampunk world. This book, the catastrophe that happened in Shadow's Haven in Book 1 is worsened because of everything that's going on in the skies below, or skies above, and the citizens below. We've got all kinds of really awesome things out there. We've got the main cover by Alessandro Ventura on Bruno Hang. We've got The Strangest Homage, which is from Josh Menendez. We've got a Keto manga cover from an up-and-coming manga team called Chess and Gwyn, which is completely awesome, and you're going to see a lot from them in the years to come. We also have as we haven't even really talked about, we have an AI cover up there because we thought it was neat, so we put it on the campaign. We've also got custom leatherwork, custom shirts, socks, all kinds of stuff. And I would be remiss if I didn't let you know that we have got an amazing quad campaign cross promo, 4 different campaigns. Us, Miss Medusa, the game from Charlie Stickney, and Raina from Ryan Cummins. If you back all 4 of those campaigns at a physical level, there is a full-size metal cover print that you will get for free just because you have backed all 4 of those. So you're talking about a super high-end collectible that's got a mashup of badass women from all 4 of our campaigns together right there. You back all 4 of us at a physical level, and you can get that. I believe Miss Medusa ends on the 4th. I believe Raina ends on the 5th. In Sim, we end on the 10th, and then the game ends on the 16th. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, you want to get your butt over there now. You do not want to wait, because before you know it, you're going to blink, and that first campaign is going to be done, and the ability to get that metal print is going to be gone forever.
That is awesome. I mean, not to just get a print with all that, but a metal print at that, because why wouldn't it be metal? I mean, you're talking about metal as far as in music and, everything else. Why not go ahead and throw it on there and have that to where it's all embedded together and show the community that's being involved with making this happen? That is awesome.
Absolutely. And yeah, being able to be involved in a cross promo with people like Charlie Stickney, who was a mentor of Stefan and my, when we started doing Kickstarter, so be able to have a thing where we're working together with him to do this promo is super awesome. Lori's great, Ryan's great. So we've had a lot of fun working together, because if you've never run a Kickstarter campaign, they're tough. And even though Steph and I can struggle together on our campaign, when you're working alongside other people that are going through the same struggle that you are, it provides some comfort, but it also provides some forward momentum, because you get to share ideas of how to promote and how to genuinely and professionally get the word out there about your campaign.
Excellent. Well, everyone needs to definitely get over there and check out Heirs of Isildur #2 over there on Kickstarter. Like I said, the links are embedded in the feeds to make it very easy for you. So we made it very easy to get over there. I was waiting on everybody jumping over there until after the show, because I wanted you to watch the show, of course, and then jump over there. Go take a look at it and definitely hit that share button. If for some reason you are unable to financially back, because not everybody can financially back everything, it costs nothing to use the power of that finger, the correct one, hit that share button, and you can go ahead and share this thing out so that everybody has a chance to have an opportunity on there. But above and beyond that, if you do go over there and you are able to back it, go ahead and go that extra step and use that finger, again, the correct one, hit that share button, and you share it out. On top of being a backer, the algorithms gets popped on there as well. So it's very big on that to increase the exposure for everybody.
And one of the things too that we will also say about is, if you're somebody that you're like, hey, look, I really can't afford it right now, and you back it for $1, there is a benefit to everyone else on the campaign if you back, because we've got dollar stretch goals, which are, based on what the dollars that the campaign makes, but we also have backer count stretch goals on this one as well. So it doesn't matter what the dollar amount is on the campaign. Like today, we got to 100 backers, and 100 backers was a backer count goal. So once we got to 100 backers, then everybody that's backed a tier is going to get something once we get to certain dollar amounts, so that way we're showing you we care just as much about the backer count as we do about the dollar amount. That's why we made sure that there's stretch goals out there to benefit for both.
Very nice. So yeah, definitely get over there, check that out. All kinds of opportunities and decisions to make on this particular campaign. And it's not done, because they are not stopping anytime soon. They will fulfill this one and be ready to drop another one in no time. So don't blink too long, because you'll miss what Insymmetry has coming up next.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. We're super stoked about all the things we have coming up. Like I said, we got probably 4 different things in the works as soon as this campaign is done. Obviously, have a lot of shows we want to be doing in 2023. We'll have to see where things take us. Every year has been a little different for us. Hopefully we can get through 2023 without having a major death in the circle of heirs. We had a major one in 2021. We had a major one in 2022. And it'd be nice to get through that without that same thing happening in 2023, because it completely sucks when your whole world has to revolve around that and see your whole perspective change. It'd be nice to get through that once without having to deal with that. So.
Absolutely. And we will definitely all be keeping our fingers crossed and everything to make sure that does not happen for y'all, and y'all have a great 2023 moving forward.
Well, I appreciate that, Damon Phil. I'm glad to see you back out doing your thing as well. And I hope you can do the same thing. I hope you can grow your network back to where you wanted to be before. I know you had big plans back in the day. I'm glad to see you back in the seat. Glad to see you back with the top hat on, doing your thing.
I certainly appreciate it. Thank you for being here again. And I'm definitely going to get you back on for some future shows. I already have some ideas for some panels that I want to bring you on for. So we'll be discussing that in the near future as well.
Sure. Sounds good to me, man. I'd love to do it.
All right. Thank you again for being here. And if you'll wait in the green room whenever I'm done, we'll chat.
Sounds good. See you guys.
All right. So we had Matt Knowles on here from Insymmetry Creations talking about his current campaign with Heirs of Isildur. It's an energetic show every time that Matt is on here. We always have a lot of fun. A lot of information is passed around there. But if you've noticed, it's very high energy every time that he's on any one of these shows. Now, I always have a closing statement. Tonight's not going to be any different. It's usually based on one word that has something to do with my guest on here, and that word, of course, is energy. Now, why would I choose energy as the one word? Because with energy, you're given a choice. Anybody can go ahead and have regular energy out there, which is basically you just draw off of everyone around you, and usually there's a lot of negativity involved in that, and you just kind of walk around just sullen and not doing much. Or you go ahead and soak up as much as you can in the positive realm of things and just portray as much of that as you possibly can. It's not a matter of just showing energy. It's a matter of actually producing it to where other people can go ahead and fuel off of that as well. My point is, it's not just in what you do in the comic industry or any other industry that's out there. It's what you do in life. If you go ahead and you actually use that energy for a positive goal on there and not negative, you'd be amazed not only to see what you can produce, but what anybody else who's around you can produce as well. Something to think about for later. But again, thank you for being here. Certainly appreciate it. We've had a hell of a show with a hell of a guest, and we are not stopping anytime soon. Every Monday, live show. Every Monday, live show. We've been kind of bouncing around trying to get our schedule straight. We have it completely locked in now. Starting tonight was the first official live show to show the date and time on there. Every Monday, 8 p.m. Central, we will have a live show. Next week will not be any different. It is actually the Halloween special. It just happens to fall on Halloween. So we're going to have some fun with that one, so don't miss out on that. But until next time, we certainly appreciate you being here. We cannot wait to see you on the next show. Please, please, please remember to go ahead and share this out so other people have a chance to go ahead and increase the voice of the indies together. Until next time, keep it indie, y'all.
Settle into sockets, flip the switch and watch them run.